it is Libby. Thank you all for coming to my channel, and today I am doing the requested assumptions video. So I asked you guys on my Instagram story to give me assumptions that you have about myself, and you guys delivered, so I am going to be reading to you 20 of those assumptions. Well, I won't be able to read all of them because it would be a little bit of a lengthy video, but I digress. We have 20 pretty awesome assumptions. So let's see what you guys assume about me. I'm going to try to pronounce your Instagram handles. If I butcher them, I apologize. Let's begin with @Cleonadict, who assumes you could speak a bunch of languages. So English is my first language. I'm fluent in English, and I know a decent amount of Spanish. I could definitely get around in a place where I would need to use Spanish. And I also know a decent amount of ASL. Our next assumption is from @Paul Agassino, and he assumed that I have loved art since I was little, and that is absolutely true. I'm gonna try to find photos of me where I would just paint and draw a lot when I was little. That was my thing. I love to paint and do hands-on things, and that definitely translated into my day-to-day life now. I just love tactile things that I can just get messy with and create things. I absolutely love art. It's amazing. @Sarkudzoya assumed that I have an awkward side that conflicts with my desire to present a certain image. Definitely true. I think this goes for everybody. I don't want to speak on everyone's behalf though, but I can definitely put up a front when I need to. Even now, the Libby you're seeing right now is definitely not my truest self. I would say I do get uncomfortable very easily in a lot of situations, especially involving too many people, too many sounds, too many things in my environment. But generally, if we're in a situation where I'm meeting new people, or maybe I'm at a convention, I'm pretty good at being enthusiastic and trying to introduce myself and say hello. Of course, it's also really easy to project a certain image online because you can always redo things over and over. You can put filters on. You can write these happy captions despite whatever's going on in your life. Even now, if I make a mistake, I can just edit it out and no one will ever know that I did. So yeah, definitely have an awkward side that nobody really sees online. I tried to not make that a thing. @AJ Chong assumed that I am a foodie, which I would have to say is pretty true. I am not really a huge fan of typical American cuisine. Like, my top 3 favorite foods are chicken tikka masala, which is curry, Mediterranean grape leaves, delicious, and sushi. I don't think there's a single food I've ever had that I don't like except for onions. I hate onions. I hate them. I've tried to like them. I don't know what it is. I think it's a texture thing, but I can't stand onions. @TB Isher assumed that I am tall, and @Fulanetzer assumed that I am short. And I'm going to provide you with a happy medium. I am just average height. I am 5'6". @Drulu assumed that I am a Taurus, but no, I am a Capricorn. @Daniel Juicebox assumed that I prefer tacos to burritos. I'm sorry, but it's the other way around. I prefer burritos to tacos, usually. Don't get me wrong, I love tacos. I love the crunch. It's like, delicious. However, the soft burrito, like, I love burritos. They're so good. @Matthias Hidaki assumed that I am very shy. Kind of depends on the situation. I would say I kind of give off this face like I'm unapproachable. If I'm in a place where I feel kind of overwhelmed or overstimulated, then I definitely kind of shut down. But if I'm at a place where I feel like I can be myself, or I feel safe and comfortable around the people that I'm with, then I'm usually pretty outgoing and maybe even a little obnoxious, to be honest. Sorry my lighting keeps changing. There are a lot of clouds out today, so the sun keeps coming and going. But I wanted this aesthetic Skyrim poster that's also out of frame to be in the shot. @Lizard454 assumes that I'm into JoJo's. I have to admit, I have tried to get into JoJo's. I think I started watching season 1 and it wasn't striking the right chord for me. I don't know what it was, but I want to try it again. But I wouldn't say I'm like into JoJo's. I'm attempting JoJo's. I know that sounds so blasphemous, and I'm so sorry because I know some of you are diehard fans. It's not like I dislike JoJo's. It's just I'm having issues getting into it. I hope you understand. Lithium198 assumed that I am independent, and I would have to say absolutely. I definitely prefer working alone as opposed to into groups, but when it comes to getting things done, I just like to just do it on my own, get it done. At Air Force Boy 49061 assumes that I am super confident. Again, kind of like with the shyness thing, it depends on the situation. I think I can be super confident when the time calls for it. You know, it's important to be humble too, and I know I have a lot to learn, so I am confident to a degree, if that makes sense. At C Christiana assumes that I hated cosplay before I did it. I didn't hate cosplay before I did it, but I was very intimidated by it. You know, cosplay was still kind of growing by the time I got into it, and there were already some pretty established artists who were making some really cool content. And when I first became interested in it, I'm like, man, that's really cool, and I don't know if I can do that. It took a lot of trial and a lot of error to kind of get where I am now, where I feel comfortable doing cosplay. But back when I first started, not that I hated it, but I was intimidated by it for sure. At Kieran Sears assumes that I don't lose my temper easily, and I love like I've never been hurt. Yeah, I'm not short-tempered. It usually takes something very specific or very maybe continuous to make me upset. I'm very non-confrontational, so I usually try not to address any issues, which is not always a good thing. Sometimes I think it's best when you get angry to just kind of walk away from a situation and then come back to it when you're clear-headed, and I think that's something I learned as I got older, because it's very easy to want to react to things that happen to you in your life because, you know, things hurt, things make you upset. Love like I've never been hurt, no, I definitely love like I've been hurt. I'm usually cautious towards the beginning of relationships. I'm also into long-term relationships. I don't like short stuff. As you can see, I have my sweetie pie on display. We've been together for 4 years and I love him to pieces. I think knowing him throughout my life has allowed me to love like I've never been hurt. Cheesy. At Jesus Goit, sorry if I mispronounced that, assumes that I prefer to play PS4 over Xbox, and yeah. It's funny, I just ordered a little like silicone skin in the mail for this, like a little silicone slip-on grip, and I wish I had that right now because it would be like a cute pink color, but I'm PS4, tried and true. At Tucson Trickob assumed that I've done a lot of theater, and at Scoomadden assumed that I was a total theater nerd in high school and I loved Shakespeare. Yeah, I've done theater pretty much all my life, which is funny because I wouldn't consider myself a theater nerd. I've not seen very many shows compared to the average person I have just because I'm studying it, but I don't actively go out and see plays. I'm very much more into movies. Like I usually prefer the film industry as opposed to the theater industry. But I've done so many shows. I did most of my lead performances in high school, and then I slowly started to realize I prefer the backstage stuff. And now I do mostly costume work. I've done theater all throughout high school, all throughout college. Even when I was younger, I did like kiddie theaters and like theater camps and stuff. Logan A. Jennings assumes that I want to leave Ohio and travel as often as possible because they're also from Ohio and they know how that feels. It's so funny you say that. That's definitely 100% true. There are little quirky things about Ohio that I really love, but then like most people who are born and raised here, they have this yearning to go do something else because the minute you step outside your neighborhood, you are surrounded by tractors, jeeps, and corn. And that's about it. So the most interesting thing to do is like going to Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, at the end of the day, I would like to travel. I wanted to go travel abroad for a long time, but COVID kind of... I was supposed to be like COVID killing something, you know? Okay. At Great Lakes Passenger assumes that I work 10 hours a day on cosplay. That's a lot. I don't work 10 hours a day on cosplay. That is my dream to pull like the 9 to 5 working on costumes, although that is exhausting. I think I would really enjoy it. Right now I work, I would say about 8 hours a week on costumes. I have 2 studios that I attend a week. Each one I stay between 3 and 4 hours sewing, and then I sew a little bit in between, especially now I've been sewing masks and like little plushies and stuff, so usually 7-8 hours, somewhere around there a week. At Jose Toibaro assumes that I eat a lot but don't gain weight. I have ice cream right here. That's funny you say that. Not true, actually. I get bloated very, very easily, or I have like acid reflux and all that gross stuff. So I definitely watch what I eat. At Galactic Hippie assumed that I don't like horror movies. I actually love horror movies. So one of my first horror movies I ever saw was Halloween 20 Years Later with Michael and Jamie Lee Curtis, and I used to have nightmares about it because I was like 12 years old. And the final assumption is from at BrittaReader48, and she assumed that I like box turtle. You got me. Yeah, shoot. I love box turtles, but you know, funny enough, if you guys really, really know me, you know that sloths are my favorite animal, but for some reason I didn't put that as my username. I don't know why. Box turtles will do, but sloths are my favorite animal. Alright guys, so that was a collection of 20 assumptions about me. I hope you learned something interesting about me. I'm not the most interesting person in the world, but I don't know why I'm using my hands while I'm talking. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. Thank you for giving me your assumptions. Let me know in the comments any other video suggestions you have for me. And it was so good being able to just be real and talk to you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video once I figure out what that will be. Bye!